Hello guys, and welcome back. Where we last left off, I kinda shot Smith in the leg, and then that may or may not have helped, and the zombie horde descended upon the mall, killing, he said, about 20 survivors. That's just the ones with guns that I could see. There's probably like 50 people here, for all I know. And it might have been, I'm starting to think it might have been a better idea to kill Smith instead of letting him slowly be dragged off, bleeding out, and then be eaten. I bet he's hoping he bleeds out before he gets eaten. And that's not a good hope to have.
I found myself in some sort of staff-only area that would normally have been off-limits to the general public. There were corridors leading to various offices and storage areas behind the back of the shops. But I had no time for sightseeing. I followed the signs and headed straight for the stairs. As I turned a corner, I heard a scream and the sounds of a struggle. One of the female survivors had also tried to make an escape, but had been ambushed by one of the infected. She had dropped her pistol and was now struggling to keep the monster from biting her.
Okay, wait, what? No! I've run out of it. Didn't I get some extra ammo? But they really used all the ammo. Steal her gun and ammo. Wow, this is all very cold except to wrestle the zombie off her. Oh god. I would honestly, like, I wouldn't do that. I'll get my crowbar and smack it in the zombie's head. What is this guy doing? Did I forget he had one? I wouldn't. So I can't do what I would do. I'd knock the zombie off with my crowbar. But I know how weak this guy is. When he tried to wrestle a zombie out of a car, he got bit. So if I do this, he's gonna die, and I've got a perfect run here. Well, near perfect run here. I'm not gonna steal her gun. I'm not gonna... If I'm gonna leave her, I'm gonna give her the hope that she could at least reach for the gun. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you're gonna die anyway. Yoink. You know, and she's dying. Cursing my name. And she doesn't even know. She'll curse TheGamakazi, no! Anyway, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ignore her plight. I wouldn't do this, I would knock him off my crowbar, but apparently that is not secret option number 5.
This was no time for chivalry. I left the girl to die and ran to the stairs. As I reached the stairwell, I became all too aware that the sound of gunfire, a constant companion for the last few minutes, had suddenly stopped. Had the survivors fought off the infected, or had they all been wiped out? I had no way of knowing either way.
Okay, take the stairs, take the elevator, or head back to the others. Okay, even if they're alive, they may be a bit pissed off with me because I took their medicine and left this girl to die. Yeah, and it didn't look good. So I don't think they're alive. I mean, you can go back and head back to them and let them celebrate and be like, thank you for the warning. We will help you retake the city and build a new society. But I am gonna go with the other option, which is not the elevator, because there are death traps in zombie apocalypses, and I'm gonna take the stairs.
I wasn't going to risk heading back to the group. In my heart, I knew they were all dead, and either way I needed to get home to save my wife. I ran up the stairs, out of the fire escape, and onto the roof. I stepped out into the open air and breathed a sigh of relief. I was on the top level of a multi-story car park which seemed to be blessedly free of zombies. There were also plenty of parked cars in relatively good condition, perfect for a swift and safe ride home. I suddenly noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. I span round and took aim, expecting it to be one of the infected. To my relief and surprise, it was a handful of survivors who had managed to escape the carnage downstairs. Before I could meet up with them, something leaped at me from the shadows, knocking my gun from my hands and nearly pushing me to the floor. I regained my balance just in time to defend myself from the creature's next assault.
I'm kind of wondering, why do you have your gun out? You're out of ammo! Maybe I can intimidate the zombie! Swing round? Oh, it's survivors. Oh no, I lost my empty gun. Knee it in the groin. I don't believe that takes down zombies, unless this is a different kind of zombie. Punch it in the face. That worked last time. It honestly worked last time. Actually, no, sorry, that didn't work last time. I believe it was the neck option that worked last time. I don't think punching it in the face would actually stop it, though, because after you punch it in the face, what else are you gonna do? I punched it in the face. What do you want me to do now? He's biting my arm.
As the zombie ran forward, I grabbed it by the neck with both hands. Realizing he'd be unable to bite me, I pushed him back with all my might, forcing him toward the railings. It took every ounce of strength that I had remaining, but I managed to shove the infected bastard over the edge. A few seconds later, I heard a sickening splat as his body hit the ground.
Good. He's not as useless as he was in the first game, maybe because a bit more hardened, but he has got collar, so you would think he's a bit weaker, but I guess that's what it took all his strength.
Now that the immediate danger had been dealt with, I had to decide how best to get back to the ground floor. As I picked up my gun, I took another look around. There were plenty of parked cars that I could steal, and the other survivors had already begun hot-wiring an SUV.
Okay, I definitely need a car. I need a car. At this point, I think it's my only chance of actually getting out of here. So it's down to steal a car, join the survivors. The survivors got nowhere else to go. They're not gonna shoot me on the spot. I doubt it. I think and since this means I try and at least help them when they're not trying to kill me, I would tell them about my farm, get more hands on. They haven't said that they're running out of supplies, said they could live indefinitely, it's just a disease. So, I guess I would at least try and tell them about the farm.
I decided that my best bet was to join up with the other survivors. They seemed pleased to see another living human, and were totally overjoyed when I told them I had somewhere safe to go. Since I was the only one who knew the way, they let me drive. As we made our way down through the car park, we realized just how fortunate we had been. The place was crawling with infected, and there was no way we could have escaped on foot. I sped out of the car park, breaking through the wooden barrier and skidding out onto the main road. I chose the most direct route I could think of, back toward the compound, and drove as fast as I could. I didn't get far, though. Not more than 2 blocks down the street, I came across the remains of a serious traffic accident. Several vehicles blockaded the road.
Okay, get out and push! Excuse me, get out and push the cars! I have a crew now, I guess, so it could happen. But I feel like just shunting them out of the way might be the better bet here. I'm not getting out on foot. Shunt them out the way.
I knew that getting out of the car unnecessarily could easily prove fatal. I slowed down to a safe speed and gently pushed the other cars out of the way. As I expected, the previous owners had not bothered to put the brakes on before abandoning their vehicles, so it was relatively easy to move them. It took a few minutes of careful maneuvering and seriously dented the front of my ride, but I was eventually able to clear a path. As I looked down the road ahead of me, I realized that making my escape might not be as easy as I first thought. A huge mob of infected assembled on the street ahead.
Okay, as much as I would like to see this epic, car drives into Horde and runs them all over, I don't know if you know this, but, the more things you hit with a car, the slower it gets. And there's a Horde, there's a reason I can turn off to a back road. I'm just trying to say this. And I don't think the back road is the fatal option. It's I go down the back road, but it turns out there was a landmine there and I blew up. If only I went down the main road. I'm turning down the back road.
I wasn't going to risk driving through a ravenous horde of the infected unnecessarily. I turned off down a small back road and took another route back to the compound. It was a little more time-consuming, but a lot less suicidal. I finally made it out of the town and back to the countryside. The sun was setting in the distance behind me. I had been through a lot that day and was glad that I would soon be reunited with my loving wife. Just when I thought I was out of danger, the engine began to make strange clunking noises. I prayed that it would last until I got home, but God didn't seem to be listening.
Okay, try and fix it. Do I even know anything? How would I fix it? It's pitch black. I'm nearly there. I got a group of people. And a crowbar, which I'm not even sure if he has anymore. Walk. I mean, personally, I don't know anything about fixing cars, so I'd have to walk.
I knew I had no hope of fixing the problem, and it was far too dangerous to waste time trying. The compound was only an hour's walk or so away, so I abandoned the vehicle and resolved to carry on foot.
That was a good decision. Thank God it's not like, you know, I was walking in the dark, then I got bit. I made it back to the compound and then turned and killed my wife. I felt very bad about it, even though I was infected.
After a long and terrifying walk through the gloom of twilight, I finally arrived at my father-in-law's compound. I was mentally and physically exhausted, and wanted nothing more than to crawl into bed, cuddle up to my wife, and fall into a deep sleep. I was expecting a far warmer welcome than I received. Despite my heroic efforts on their behalf, the guards wisely insisted that my companions and I prove we hadn't been bitten before being allowed in. Once more I had to strip down to my skin to show that I would remain among the living. With the formalities over and done with, we were finally allowed inside. As soon as the gates were safely closed behind me, my father-in-law ran out from the farmhouse and uncharacteristically gave me a hug. Then he asked me about the medicine.
I thought he was gonna run out and say your wife's dead. But nope, a hug is a good news. Okay.
I smiled and showed him the contents of my backpack. I had secured enough antibiotics to treat everyone who lived in the compound, myself included. We wasted no time in delivering them to everyone who needed it. Over the course of the next few days, the compound began to recover. With the exception of the two worst cases, everyone survived the illness and were soon back on their feet. Most importantly of all, I had saved my beautiful wife yet again.
How did I do this? All in one? I died 10 times in the last one. This one seemed to be a bit more, I mean, apart from like a few options where I think I could have done better, and you know, I'm disappointed that my crowbar disappeared for some reason, but you know, I'll take it. I will take it. Survived the day, yes. Got the antibiotics, yes. Tactics, rank A. Compassion, rank A. This is the best I've ever done. Wow. You have a solid understanding of zombie outbreaks, and your survival skills are far above average. You'll probably survive a real outbreak. And my compassion, despite the intense psychological pressures of the outbreak, you remain kind-hearted and generous person. Yes! I win! I saved everyone that I possibly could have. You know, maybe I could have wrestled the zombie to the ground, but let's face it, if I've got anything from the last game, it's that this guy is not very good when it comes to wrestling. And that is Dead Frontier Outbreak 2. I hope you enjoyed. I have no idea if there's a third one. It seems like there's just an MMO, which I'm not gonna do. So I hope you enjoyed this. Actually want to know, Flash games. What do you think of them? Are they a suitable Let's Play? Do you want me to do more Flash games? Because, I like doing these. These are pretty good. Or I can stick to the official, you know, Steam games that I normally do. But, you know, Flash games are good too. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. If you didn't, you know, let me know. But with this done, and without further ado, that is it, folks. So, thanks for watching, and next time, you know, who knows? Just remember, if it's zombie apocalypse, come to me, because apparently, if you're not bits, and I know I'm not gonna get myself killed, I will help you, and I have the best tactics in the world. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.